City County Board of Supervisors. And Ms. Johnson, before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, I would like to have a moment of silence, please, for Javier Smith, who was our sheriff for 8 years and served as a deputy for, I think, 11 years before that, if I'm not mistaken, who passed away unexpectedly on Saturday evening. I would like to thank everyone for the moment of silence. At this time, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Johnson? Hold on a minute, let me mute.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me? Good afternoon, board members, citizens, and everyone that's gathered, as well as those that are on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Mr. Chairman, for the adoption, before we adopt the agenda for this evening, I will need to make a small amendment for the public hearings. Item A, I would need to make item B. And item B, I would need to make item A. So I need to reverse those.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the motion to amend the agenda. Floor is open for an adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, motion for adoption with the changes.
Unmute your machine, Mr.
Okay, Mr. Smith has made the motion for the adoption of the agenda. Is there any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? Your vote, Mr. Smith? And Mr. Black? All right, Ms. Johnson?
Item 3, we don't have a consent agenda unless you gentlemen have something else that you all need to add.
So, no. There's nothing in the consent agenda.
No.
Mr. Boyd? Nothing in the consent agenda. Can I just strike it? Even though we've already adopted the agenda? I can just strike it? Thank you. At the discretion of the chairman, I will strike item 3, consent agenda. Continue on, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first case for the public hearing this evening is in narrow case number ZTA 01-2020 and case number ZTA 02-2020. I will read those for your hearing, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on just a moment.
You changed A and B. And so I'm on tab B now. Is that correct?
That is correct. The zoning text amendment is first. Yes, you're on tab B first.
Page 4. Under item B. I don't think it's correct. I think Nero's in the back.
I'm sorry?
If I'm not mistaken, the Nero cases are in the back of our booklet.
Go to tab D.
I did go to tab B.
No, D.
D? Okay, so yeah, they're in the back of the booklet, ma'am.
I'm sorry, my tab is tab B in my booklet. Your tab is tab D.
Okay, that's fine.
Are you all there? Everyone there? ZTA 01-2020.
Yes.
Mr. Black, are you there?
Yes.
Mr. Smith, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read the advertisement as presented for the public. Charles City County, Virginia, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Charles City County Planning Commission will hold a public hearing. The Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 19th, 2020 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter as possible in the Government Administration Building, 10900 Courthouse Road, Charles City, Virginia, 23030, to receive public comment and consider the following. ZTA 012020, application by N. Nero to amend the Charles City County zoning ordinance to add a definition to Division 1 General Section 3-1, definitions general of the Charles City County zoning ordinance for a funeral home crematorium. And Mr. Chairman, I'll read both of the advertisements in one since they're combined. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Application by, ZTA 02-2020, application by N. Nero to amend the Charles City County zoning ordinance to add funeral home crematorium as a permitted use to Division 2 District Regulation, Section 8.3, General Business District uses with special permit of the Charles City County zoning ordinance as a special use in the General Business B1 zoning district. That is an advertisement as presented, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we'll have staff present the case. Dr. Russell.
Good evening again. All right, we're good. Thank you so much. I want to share with members of the board that we had an applicant, Mr. Nero, who has proposed to redevelop a property that was formerly used as a funeral home. The property was developed before the adoption of the Charles City zoning ordinance. Actually, the property was originally developed on or about 1967, and our ordinance was adopted in 1975. And so because a tool that we use in the zoning ordinance called non-conforming use had expired because the property had been dormant for more than 2 years, we sought to accommodate the development or reuse of the property for this purpose by proposing amendments to the zoning ordinance. One, and that is ZTA 01-2020, was to define the funeral home crematorium use. And then two, ZTA 02-2020 is to itemize or list that as a permitted use in the B1 zoning designation. And that is what the proposed zoning designation and proposed zoning ordinance amendments accomplish. Our Planning Commission considered both of these proposals at their September meeting and recommended approval of the proposed zoning ordinance amendments, and staff joins with the Planning Commission in recommending your favorable consideration of both ZTA 01-2020 and ZTA 02-2020. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Russell. At this time, I will open up the public hearing for ZTA-01-2020 and ZTA-02-2020.
You all will have to excuse us as we go through the technical. Prior to Mr. Black being elected, we said there was just some old grandpas up here, so we have to, sometimes we have to back up. At this time, I will open up the public hearing for ZTA 01-2020 and ZTA 02-2020. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board about this at this time? Please come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes as an individual, 5 minutes if you're representing a group. And for those on YouTube and Facebook. If you have any questions, please pull them in now, and I will pick those up after I do the audience questions. And we ask that you state your name, not your address, but I need to mute.
Good evening, board members. I'm Noel Nero. I'm the new owner of the Charles City of the Charity Funeral Home. I just wanted to introduce myself. I know I'll have an opportunity to tell you what we plan to do with the property. So I just want to let you know who I am, and I'll be taking my seat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nero. Anyone else in the auditorium like to address the board? Wendy's not in here. That's okay. I want to ask a question because I want the people out on virtual to hear this question. Ms. Pine, and you may not be able to answer this, but this question came up at our last board meeting. When someone comments, how do I differentiate between Facebook and YouTube? And okay. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone on YouTube or Facebook that would like to ask any questions about these two cases? If so, you have about 10 seconds to get it in there. Yeah.
How many people are on here?
Oh,
Facebook
I don't know
and-
about that. No.
Okay.
But you got your comment side pulled
Yeah,
up?
I got both.
Yeah. All right. Since we do not have any comments at all coming from virtual land, I will now close the public hearing for ZTA 01-2020 and ZTA 02-2020. Gentlemen, the floor is open for any questions you might have of staff. Dr. Russell, in the beginning, when this went to the Planning Commission, the address was incorrect on the property. Is that correct? Okay, was all of the property owners notified of this, including the wrong property address that was originally slated in the application? Hold on a second. Let her unmute you so everybody can hear you.
Were all property owners adjacent and the current owner of the property notified, sir?
They were all notified.
Sir?
Do we notify property owners by certified mail?
No, sir.
Is it possible going forward that we can do that by certified mail so that we can make sure that we have copies that they were notified? We had an issue come before the board, before the Planning Commission a few months ago, and property owners claimed that they were not aware of a meeting that you all had, I think over at Journey Cafe or whatever. Is there a way that we can start doing that through certified mail so we have copies of everyone that did indeed receive those notices?
We can send certified mail. I would recommend that we do both certified mail plus regular mail because you can't guarantee that the addressee would pick up the.
That's okay. We tried with certified. If they don't pick it up,
Yes,
deal?
yes, sir.
Thank you very much. That's all the questions I. Floor is open.
I'm sorry, before you put the motion on the floor, are you saying that individual need to go to the post office and pick up that mail, or they would have to sign for it at their home? Because we don't want to have, okay, because we don't want to have citizens have to go to the post.
No, it'll come to their home.
This thing is delayed terrible. That would,
Let me smile. if there's a certified letter that comes to your home and you do not sign for it or you're not there, there is a notice put in your mailbox to let you know there is a certified letter awaiting for you, so that hopefully you can actually sign the little thing and put it back in the mailbox, and they can deliver it that way. So there's really no reason why they shouldn't receive it, but we do not have any record whatsoever that we attempted to contact these people other than that, correct?
Case file attesting to the mailing of the adjacent property owner notice.
Start over again, because she didn't unmute you in time.
Okay. We include an affidavit in the case file attesting to the mailing of the adjacent property owner notice.
Okay. If it's okay with you, I would like to see certified, and unless my colleagues, if we could do that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cutter, may I?
Yeah.
So the adjacent property owner notice is for the special use permit with that, rather than the zoning text amendment cases that.
Zoning text amendment wouldn't necessarily involve property owners, correct?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Good.
All right, gentlemen, if there's not any other questions, these case numbers ZTA 01-2020 and case ZTA 02-2020, we're going to bundle them up together here, and the floor is open for a motion for approval or disapproval of that.
Mr.
All right, I have closed the public hearing at this time. Gentlemen, if there's any more questions or whatnot, the floor is open for a motion on those two cases, ZTA 01-2020 and ZTA 02-2020.
Mr. Chairman, I motion we approve both ZTA 02-2020 and ZTA-01-2020 as mentioned.
As presented.
As presented.
Okay. Mr. Black has made the motion for approval of both. Any discussion on the motion? Your vote, Mr. Black? And
Aye.
Mr. Smith? My vote is aye also. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item will be in Nero case number SUP 052020, application by N Nero for a special use permit to operate a funeral home and crematory at 5140 John Tyler Memorial Highway as proposed by ZTA 012020 and ZTA 2020. The property is zoned general business B1 and consists of 1.4 acres. The property fronts on the north side of John Tyler Highway, State Route 5, west of the intersection of John Tyler Memorial Highway, State Route 5, and Harrison Lake Road, State Route 665. Frontage along John Tyler Memorial Highway, State Route 5, an average depth of 340 feet. The property address is 5140 John Tyler Memorial Highway, and the tax parcel number is 50-38.
Mr. Boyd, we changed the address. This is what I was referring to earlier. We changed the address in this SUP. As long as it's approved with the correct address, then we're okay. Is that correct? Good enough. All right. Do you want staff to do a presentation or anything on this?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell will do a presentation on this, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mitchell.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson and Chairman of the board and board members. I have the opportunity tonight to present to you four kind of exciting opportunities in economic development here in the county. Two of them are new businesses and two of them are expansions of existing business. The first one, the funeral home of Mr. Nero, is reactivating an older funeral home that had been closed for many years. And he's applying for the special use permit to operate the funeral home there at 5130 John Tyler Memorial Highway. There are conditions that he's acknowledged. I won't read through all of them individually, but there are 12 conditions. He is aware that VDOT has recommended the installation of a commercial entrance and a minor site plan that he would have to put together. The other item that would be that he's aware of that I'm pointing out is that he will have the building official do what's considered like a life safety inspection once he finishes any renovations inside to make sure it has the adequate fire extinguishers, exit lights, and those types of things. With that, the planning commission forwarded this to you with a positive recommendation unanimously from their last meeting. And with that, I leave this open to you all.
Do me a favor and correct the address in your presentation, 5140, not, 5130, 5140.
5130.
It's 5130.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson, you said 5140. Which one is it? I had to change mine whenever you were reading it. What do you have on yours? On the application that you read.
If you could mute your machine. Mute his machine really quick.
When you were reading it, you said 51. Oh,
I'm muted now.
In the advertisement, Mr. Chairman, it states 5140 and the application is 5130. So Mr. Mitchell, if you could verify the correct address.
5130, I believe the ad that you're reading was from the planning commission.
I am. So if you could, the correct address is 5130 John Tyler Memorial Highway. And Mr. Boyd said as long as we approve it with the correct address, we're legal, correct, Mr. Boyd?
Public notice that was published, included the tax map parcel. Also, they had 51. The advertisement.
do you have a copy? Do you have a copy of the plat? Can I see it, please? I want to be very definitive in which property we're allowing an SUP on. So it is definitely 5130 where the funeral home building sits, not the home next door. Okay. So it's 5130. So the SUP as written in our packet is correct that we are looking at. Okay, we're good. Thank you, ma'am. At this time, I will open up the public hearing for SUP 0520. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board? Same rules apply as before. 3 minutes individual, 5 minutes representing a group. We ask that you come to the podium, state your name. And if anyone out in virtual land would like to make a comment on this, please type that in as soon as you can, please, because I will go to your comments as soon as I get done with the auditorium comments. No takers in the auditorium, and I see no takers out on Facebook or YouTube. So at this time, I will close the public hearing for SUP 05-2020. Gentlemen, do y'all have any questions? If not, the floor is open for a motion.
Move that SU. Thought I just did. It is.
There you go. You just weren't speaking up. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, again, Mr. Chairman, move that SUP 05-2020 be approved as presented with the conditions that, planning staff have recommended.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. Is there any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? Your vote, Mr. Smith?
Uh-huh.
Mr. Black?
Mr. Black?
My vote is
Aye.
aye.
My vote is aye.
Ms. Johnson?
You got me. I'm so excited for you.
I got her, y'all.
Mute game.
Item, Mr. Chairman, with my machine unmuted, is C. Evans, case number SUP 042020. Application by C. Evans for a surface mining operation to extract gravel and sand as permitted by Division 2, District Regulations, Section 5-3, Agricultural District A1. Uses with special use permit of the Charles City County zoning ordinance. The subject property has an existing special use for a vegetative waste mulching recycling center approved in February 26 of 2008. The property is zoned agriculture A1 and is consists of 372, of which 50 acres are proposed for gravel and sand mining. The property begins at 2,952 plus north of the intersection of Sturgeon Point Road, State Route 614, and Courthouse Road, State Route 155. Fronts 4,395 on the west side of Courthouse Road, State Route 155, and has an average depth of 3,302. The property address is 5001 Courthouse Road, and tax parcel number is 17-1, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Mr. Boyd, I need to change the name on this for the application to be by C.H. Schreiber Contractors Incorporated. Can I legally do that? It needs to be changed because C. Evans is an employee. He's the one that filled out the application, but the SUP needs to be in the name of the company, which is C.H. Schreiber Contractors Incorporated. So can I change this on the stage to accommodate that change and be legal? I looked at the application and he had filled out where he was the representative. I don't have an issue. I just want to make sure that we do the SUP in the proper name. So can I change it? And right now, before I take it to public hearing? It says application by C. Evans under the SUP 04-2020.
But the project name, Mr. Chairman, is Schreiber Mulch and Materials.
And is that in the SUP anywhere? Is that anywhere in the SUP 04-2020?
It's in item 3.
No, I'm talking about for the public hearing. We take things to public hearing so the public can have an opportunity to voice their opinions and all. And if we're going to take it to public hearing, then it needs to be in the proper name of the company or the person, the people that is asking for the SUP.
If you go where it says and, oh, no, go ahead.
Application shows the project title is CH Travel Country.
And had I not brought it up, see, my question is, should we have it in the proper name for the person that's actually?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, if you look at where it says and, it mentions them right by the SUP-04-2020. It shows page 5.
Hold on, Matt.
You on page 5?
Oh, no, one more. Okay, go ahead.
Where it says and, it says now therefore be it resolved that the Charles City County Board of Supervisors hereby approves/disapproves of SUP.
So it's
It says it right there, yeah.
It's listed down in the bottom.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, just to make sure that I'm clear in the advertisements, because the way that it's formalized, and Dr. Russell, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's applications by whoever the application was submitted by. So would you prefer to have the company name to be included in the advertisement?
I think they have it.
I think that the company name should be included in the application, in the advertisement, so that anyone out in the public, because I was actually questioned today, well, who is C. Evans? And I had to explain on social media that it was Schreiber Mulch Materials. So if we could do that going forward, that would be great. And we wouldn't have this. Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
By doing that, does that not allow someone else to go and apply at this time, like apply for the application for the SUPs, or no? By having them put the company name, or no?
No, it will allow them to apply for the company. They're the person, like the gentleman on the left is Mr. Evans. He's a family member, but he's actually an employee. So he filled out all the paperwork and applied for it, but he was applying for the company. But the advertisement did not state the company anywhere. So no one knew which company was doing this. Am I correct? Okay. So,
Mr. Chairman, that's something that we can have staff fix moving forward. And just make sure if you want, when you go to adopt it this evening, if you want to include that name in your adoption, in whatever way you guys vote, you can include it in that just to make sure that it's clear to everyone. Correct, Mr. Boyd?
So they don't have time over the weekend to run down and do what you just said. I get it. And what we did is legal, and I care about that. But
So moving forward, Mr. Chairman, we'll make sure that it's corrected and meet your expectations.
thank you, Ms.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. All right. At this time, I will open up the public hearing for SUP 04-2020. If anyone would like to address the board. Anyone out in virtual would like to address the board? At this time, I will close the public hearing. Gentlemen? Any questions, anything? If not, the floor is open for a motion.
I do have some questions. It's for Charles Schreiber, I guess, or Schreiber. Sorry about that. What are the environmental impacts of the new gravel mining?
Mr. Schreiber, please come to the podium.
Okay.
Can you hear me? This was an existing mine that was closed and reclaimed back and released. And we have a mine on the adjacent piece of property. And we have an area that we were wanting to mine while we had equipment and still had the other operation open. There's really, I can't see any impact on any, there's no wetlands or anything on this property, on this parcel. And we'll have that checked. The mine division, Department of Mines and Minerals will make sure that we're not mining in a wet area or in wetlands.
Yeah, I was just saying, when it comes to projects like this going forward, maybe we need to think about the environmental impacts that may plague Charles City in the future when it comes to any project.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Black, anytime that there is any mining operations, any applicant would have to go to the State Department of Mining and Minerals for approval prior to coming to the county. So the state agencies also, are watching these types of projects for any environmental impacts as well.
I understand that. I was just for our own our county use. I think we should have our own thing that audits these types of projects also. I mean, I don't want to rely on the state every time when it comes to a project. So I don't know if that's possible, but maybe that's something that we can look into.
When you say accounting, Mr. Schreiber, you actually pay
the county a mining and minerals for what you extract or not?
Okay. Good evening. My name is Carter Evans. I actually put the permit together for CH Schreiber Contracting Incorporated. To your previous question, Department of Mines and Minerals does inspect erosion and sediment control, and that is performed on a monthly basis. So we implement practices to catch runoff water and sediment and whatnot, and they will actually follow up on a monthly basis to maintain and say, hey, you're doing this right. No, you're not doing it right. And they hold us accountable that way. Yes, sir. Is there any other questions while I'm up here?
Your father started mining that property a very long time ago, didn't he?
84,
84.
it was in that area. Then we closed it down in about 2000 when we reclaimed it.
All right, gentlemen. Floor is open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, a motion to approve SUP-04-2020 as presented.
Unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
Unanimous? Okay. All right. All right, any discussion?
Can you redo that, please?
I'm a little slow with technology. All right, so this did pass the planning commission unanimously. Any more discussion? If not, your vote, Mr. Black.
Aye.
Your vote, Mr. Smith. Your vote, Mr. Smith. My vote is aye. My vote, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is Tire Recyclers Incorporated, case number RZ032020. Application by Tire Recyclers Incorporated to amend proffers associated with RZ7-1991, RZ-1-2000, and RZ.
A. Go back to A. Tab A.
Mr. Machine, Mr. Chairman.
Just a second. Just let us catch up. This is under tab A. Go ahead.
Mr. Machine. Would you like for me to read this from the beginning?
Yes, I would.
REZ 032020, application by Tire Recyclers Incorporated to amend proffers associated with RZ-7-1991, RZ-1-2000, and RZ-1-2014. The specific proffers to be amended are Proffer 8, which addresses the methods used to sort and process the types and size of tires that are brought to the facility. Proffer 8 also identifies the processing areas and how tires will be managed during processing. The applicant proposes to eliminate Proffer 11, which addresses how tires not suitable for processing will be hauled off-site. The Charles City County Comprehensive Plan identifies the property as part of the Roxbury Development Center with no specified density. The property is zone M-2C and consists of 11.3 acres. The property is located on the east side of Roxbury Road, State Route 106, beginning 500 feet south of the intersection of Roxbury Road, State Route 106, and Barnett's Road, State Route 609, with 2,400 feet of frontage along Roxbury Road, State Route 106, and an average depth of 700 feet. The property address is 2640 Roxbury Road, and tax parcel number is 4-13A. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Mr. Black, just a little history on this for just a second. Dr. Russell, you were not present when they brought these proffers to the board before and we denied them. I think that was before your time. Is that true? Is that's true, correct? Okay. Mr. Ayers, are you going to speak, or do you have someone that wants to speak? Okay, I'll get to you in just a second. I just want to bring Mr. Black up to speed. This came before us a couple years ago. Are the proffers that you're trying to amend now exactly as they were then? Pretty much the same application? Okay. And we denied it due to the, and I really want everyone to hear this, due to the current condition of their site. I went out and toured the site. I actually went up about 25 feet on a forklift and videotaped the whole property, and it wasn't favorable at the time for the board to approve the proffers that they're asking to amend. Since that time, they have brought in new management, the daily operation of it, and really turned that operation around as far as the operation and the way they did daily business. I went out about 3 months ago with our fire marshal and toured the property, and I actually endorsed a letter that you guys saw before I did it, that sent to the state in recommendation of how they were handling the property now. So that brings us to today. Now they're back trying to get these proffers done. So I wanted really everyone just to have the history so that if there's any questions on that. So at this time, I will open up the public hearing for RZ03-2020, the application by Tire Recyclers. Same rules apply, 3 minutes, 5 minutes if you're a group. And if you would come to the podium and state your name, please, for anyone that would like to speak. Those on YouTube and Facebook, please type in any comments you may have or questions at this time.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Ms. Johnson. My name is Bob Hunley with Resource International. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Green Zone Investments, LLC. They are pleased to come before you tonight to present our zoning request to amend our zoning proffers. We have worked hard in the last few years to maintain our position as Virginia's #1 recycler of waste tires. We recycle more than half of the waste tires that are generated in Virginia. And since the start of our operation, we estimate that we have successfully recycled over 40 million tires. We readily admit that operational success has had major operational zoning and regulatory challenges. We have committed ourselves to meet those challenges and have committed hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital resources to meet them and become a good corporate citizen within Charles City County. In the 2 years since we were last here before you, we have accomplished the following. Implemented a fire safety plan under the direction and supervision of the State Fire Marshal and the Charles City County Fire Marshal. We have installed new shredder equipment to assist us in meeting the tire demand and assist us in managing the tire volume we receive for processing. We have worked diligently with VDEQ to meet the permit and compliance challenges, and we have maintained close communication with the county in meeting their concerns, your concerns. Our rezoning request tonight is focused on a change in the current proffers that are more reflective of the operational needs of the facility. Based upon recent state fire marshal and local zoning inspections, we believe our hard work has demonstrated that we can operate our facility within the constraints presented by our revised proffers. We require these proffer amendments to accomplish the following. A, provide a tire storage and operational method that is more reflective of the nature of the materials handling, receiving, and storage that is required for a successful operation. B, provide for the outside storage for tires and tire byproducts that is permitted under the state tire regulations. C, permit our operation to amend our state permit by rule to reflect the waste volumes that our facility must handle to meet the recycling demand of the Commonwealth. And D, provide a set list of proffers that we can manage and that the county and fire marshal can monitor. I'm gonna be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hunley. Anyone else from the audience like to address the board? All right. Anybody in virtual land, do you have any questions or comments that you would like to submit? Not seeing any at this time, I will close the public hearing for RZ-03-2020. Gentlemen, you all have any questions?
Yes, I do. Proffer number 11, it says that unsuitable materials will not be stored on site in piles. So is proffer number 11 going to be merged with proffer number 8? And will you still store unsuitable tires on site?
I believe that may just be a modification situation there. What we're saying on proffer 11 is that we propose eliminating that in lieu of the revisions to proffer number 8. Unless you're talking about a different. Are you talking about the one that's revised to proffer number 11?
Yeah, proffer number 8 is that going to be merged with proffer number 11, or vice versa? Number 11 be with merged with 8. Are you all still going to
Yes, 11 is being merged with 8.
so you still aren't going? I mean, you're not going to store unsuitable materials. Okay, I just want to make sure of that. All right, thank you.
Dr. Russell, stay seated for just a moment, or Mrs. Johnson. Yeah, one of you all, either or, can answer this question probably. The only thing that I have concerns with at all is them reverting back to the way they used to do business. What can be done to ensure that that doesn't happen? Let me mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And so because we have a full-time director of fire and EMS who also serves as our fire marshal, he has worked with tile recyclers and their staff to make sure they are in compliance with all state and local regulations. I know that there have been 2 instances where he had to go and insert some provisions in order to stop, and in those had to stop operations temporarily until they came back into compliance. And so he is very pleased with the outcome and is checking them on a monthly basis, announced and unannounced. But, you know, from the recent visits, he's been very pleased with the progress that they made on the property.
Yeah, I've been seeing his reports, and then of course I went out myself and saw it firsthand. So I don't have a problem at all with trying to assist you guys in your business. Quite a contrast from the last time, but that's what progress is all about. So if any other questions, if not, the floor is open for a motion on RZ 03-2020.
Mr. Chairman, move that REZ 03-2020 be approved as presented.
Any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? And just a notation, this was passed unanimously also by our planning commission. No discussion. Your vote, Mr. Smith? Mr. Black? My vote is aye also. Mrs. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The final public hearing for the evening is SUP 03-2020.
B. Continue on, Ms. Johnson.
Application by J. Jones to operate a bed and breakfast inn as permitted by Division 2, District Regulations, Section 5-3, Agricultural District A1, uses with special permit of the Charles City County zoning ordinance. This is a proposed owner-occupied bed and breakfast offering 2 suites for nightly rental. The property is zoned Agriculture A1 and consists of 5.67 acres. The property begins 3.1 miles southeast from the intersection of Eagles Nest Road, State Route 612, and Wilcox Neck Road, State Route 623, with 40 feet of frontage along Eagles Nest Road, State Route 621, and an average depth of 540 feet. The property address is 12500 Eagles Nest Road, and the tax parcel number is 58-12, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Ms. Johnson. At this time, I will open up the public hearing for SUP 03-2020. If anyone from the audience would like to address the board, you can at this time. Same rules, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Jones, and I'm the applicant. I am seeking your approval for a bed and breakfast to be operated out of my residence. I am new to the county, so I also want to introduce myself. Hello, everyone. If you have any questions about the operation, it was kind of outlined for you there. But again, it's my primary residence. I'll be there at all times. This is not an Airbnb situation. Maximum occupancy would be 6 guests as I'm sort of planning my opening. And I don't have a specific opening date because of COVID, but I'm hopeful to seek your approval and be underway shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Anyone else like to address the board? I'm seeing that there is a comment, but Ms. Sharon Lord Brown, we are here for a specific reason tonight. This is not a standard board meeting. This is just to consider the special use permits and whatnot that are before us. So therefore, we will give any updates, if there are any, on the Glebe Lane at our next scheduled meeting, which I think is on the 27th. Anyone else like to address the board about this SUP? With me seeing none, then I will close the public hearing at this time. Gentlemen, do you all have any questions? Mr. Smith? No. Dr. Russell, do you have any idea how many bed and breakfasts there are in Charles City? I know I should have asked you this yesterday, whatever. Bed and breakfasts is typically operated out of personal homes? They are? Okay. I mean, I know that some of the commercial plantations have bed and breakfasts and this, that, and the other. There's no way that the county can ever be held liable. No, I didn't think so. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to see you nod your head though. Okay, that's all the questions I have. Gentlemen, the floor is open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve SUP-03-2020 as presented.
All right, any discussion on Mr. Black's motion? Your vote, Mr. Black?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
I think you voted aye.
Yes, sir.
And I vote aye myself. Thank you very much. We don't have public comment period. I will strike item V from the agenda, which takes us to board. We don't have board directors' comments either, do we?
You could if you wanted to. This is a regular board meeting.
I'll wait till you.
I don't have anything. Mr. Smith, you anything?
No, I'm fine, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then we don't have any director board comments. I do need executive session for.
You're muted,
Somebody-
Mr. Chairman. You're muted.
Thank you. That brings us down to executive session. I do request executive session for personnel. Anything else you need, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I need executive for prospective business as well as investment of public funds.
Right. That gives us for prospective business, investment of public funds, and personnel, if someone would like to make the motion to go into executive session. Any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? Your vote, Mr. Smith? Mr. Black?
Aye.
And my vote is aye also. Thank you all for attending. We do not expect any action to be taken after executive session. You're more than welcome to hang around if you would like. We do thank you for coming. We are going to recess out of tonight until 6 p.m. on the 27th, which would be our regular board meeting.
And Mr. Chairman, can I just advise that the board meeting will not officially start for business at 6 o'clock. It will be a meet and greet for the Board of Supervisors to have the opportunity to meet our new superintendent, Dr. Joppi, from 6 to 7.
Is that still an open meeting though, correct? Or not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right, at this time, thank you very much. We'll go into executive session.